Okay. Welcome, Carlos. We will resume our hearing for the Public Defender's Office. Carlos Crawford, our Public Defender, will be presenting, and welcome, Carlos.
Thank you. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to present my 2023 budget here. Looks like I'm the last one of the day, so maybe everyone else.
If you are last, yeah.
So maybe everyone else has got all the questions and we can just breeze through here. So, can you put it on the PowerPoint?
Okay.
Right. I did prepare a short presentation here. I tried to kind of give a more detailed letter when I submitted my budget. I'm not sure if you guys were able to review that, a couple pages there. So this will just highlight some of that stuff, give you the opportunity for questions. But here I'm going to really dig down on some of the key areas that the budget increased in and explain why those increases were necessary. And finally, I will present some future budget considerations, things that I think in the future may actually help me come present a reduced budget to you guys in the future. So here's just a general overview of my 2023 budget. Again, you guys were able to look at the memo I provided. Here, the yellow highlighted lines are key areas where my budget increased significantly, and I will get into those here shortly. Essentially, this year we are asking for $2,237,000. Last year we were at 1.9. Right around 1.9 million. So a quick overview of our office. Currently, we're staffed with 9 employees. We have 2 strict administrative staff, 1 program administrator, 4 assistant public defenders. One of those is in the youth division, and then 1 senior assistant public defender, and of course myself. We have divided those into 1 youth division, 2 attorneys practicing primarily in common pleas, and 2 primarily practicing in municipal court. I kind of take cases in both courts and in other projects as well. So the cases we handle, again, we handle municipal court cases. Those are things from drinking and driving to your petty thefts out of Walmart or CVS or Meijer. The bulk of our places, Tanger outlets, people selling clothes and those things. Those are municipal level. The felonies, we handle those as well. Obviously, the rapes, the murders, the drug possessions. We now have a juvenile, or we like to refer to as youth division because the word juvenile has become more of a derogatory term. So here we're using youth interchangeably with juvenile. And then we have handled other cases as well, extraditions and habeas corpus, things of that nature. So in 2021, our office handled approximately 665 municipal cases, 266 felony cases, and only 2 youth cases. 2022, we have increased those numbers significantly. Our 2022 numbers are only through October 1st, so we still have 2 months to go, and as you can see, we've already exceeded all of 2021. Municipal, we're at 701. Felony, to me, is really the most impressive movement we've made. We're predicting to handle about 110 more felonies than we did in 2021. That's key for 2 reasons. Primarily, felonies are the bulk of the money spent on a case. The average felony case is around $800, where the average municipal case is between 5 and 6. The cap on a municipal case is probably, even if it goes to trial, maybe $2 or $3 grand, where a felony case could be a $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000 bill. And so us focusing on those high money cases has really, I think, been beneficial to our office and will continue to be beneficial to the taxpayers of the county.
Carlos, I think I know the answer, but just want to be sure. These are the cases handled by public defenders. Does this include the ones that you seek outside attorneys on, or is it just the ones you guys handle?
These are what we're handling.
Okay.
And we will discuss outside counsel as well. But these are what we're handling. I just kind of want to show a comparison between 21 and 22. I think 23 will even show a greater yield because we'll be fully staffed. There was a little bit of turnover early in 22. Obviously, you know, John Cornelli was out of the office for 3 months before I came. That would reduce our case numbers. There was another person he hired left, and that reduced caseload some. And then there was a third attorney prior to me being in, the first person to ever leave. So I fully expect my staff to be with me next year, and we will, I think, well surpass even 22 numbers next year. So,
Carlos, when did you come with the office this year again? What month was that?
I started in April.
April.
I started
Okay,
in April.
thank you.
When did you add the youth dedicated attorney?
We added the youth attorney in August.
Okay.
He started in August, and already he has taken us from two cases last year to 37. And so, you know, he's doing really good work. I've spoken with Judge Himanowski, other people at the court, they really like him. And so I expect next year that those numbers increase quite a bit too. I know I'm focusing on numbers. I don't like to solely focus on numbers. You know, I'm a service office, but when we can still provide a good service at good numbers, that's our goal. So I do want to emphasize as well, we're not just pleading people. We're not just trying to crank our numbers up, plead guilty, get more cases in. I think we are providing a quality service for the county and also saving taxpayers money as opposed to being a complete court-appointed system. So, all right, my next slide will highlight cases assigned out. Now, these are cases that are handled outside of the public defender's office. For 2021, we assigned out 490 juvenile cases. We didn't have our youth attorney then, so that was fully court-appointed. A municipal, 677, felony, 580. Domestic, those are cases that we still do not handle internally. That would be a contempt. Say someone's not paying their child support, and you can actually go to jail or prison for that. And so that's in domestic relations court. And so because they're facing jail for contempt, they're still afforded an attorney for that. We completely outsource those to court-appointed counsel. 2022, as you can see, juveniles down to 400 so far. And again, I know these are only through October 1st. I don't expect that to get past 410 because of our new attorney. So we're going to see savings there. Municipal cases, we have only signed out 508. Felony cases, again, you know, we've assigned over 200 less felony cases. So those are, again, one of my key areas because those cases they can last many years, they can be very complicated, and so that was one of my focuses. Domestic, that's down. I can't take credit for that because, again, we don't defend those. It's just less filings, I guess. More people are paying their child support, so that's good. Appeals, you'll hear me talk about appeals later. This is a key area. Again, our office doesn't do appeals. Appeals come after a jury trial. 99% of the time it's after the defense loses a trial, and so they have a right to appeal. We pay for probably 100% of the appeals because once you're sent to prison, you're indigent by law, so we have to pay for those appeals. I will discuss later why that's a problem for me to ever be able to get an actual number on a budget, and we'll talk about how those fluctuated.
Carlos, does your office make the decision about whether there will be an appeal, and then you send it out, or how's that determined?
Every single jury trial, a person wants to appeal because they're off to prison. They
So
want
it's just an automatic?
It's automatic, yeah. It's gonna happen after every jury trial. And so we don't have any say in that. We don't have any say of what that attorney bills or what the transcript costs. And I'll talk about that. But key before then, an appeal can cost us anywhere in a municipal case to around $1,000, $1,500, all the way up to $15,000 or $20,000 in a felony case, if it's a murder or death penalty case or a long rape trial. So, again, those numbers are something we can't control as of now. All right, so my budget to actual here is of 10/16 of this year. This one I want to highlight the contracted professional services. If you guys remember, I was before you guys about 3 weeks ago moving money from compensation into that 5301 contracted professional services. As you see, we are at 101% of that number from last year's budget. My current budget increased that from around 980 to 1.1 million, essentially. As you see, we're well over that, well, a little over it now, with less than, we have about 2 months to go, because this was, I guess about a month and a half. This was 10/16. But we're gonna be far over that when that time comes. At this point, I don't think that I'm gonna have to come back and ask for money for 2022. If you can see, we're kind of making that up in some of the other areas in that. In the 5300s period, or 530 services and charges, I just don't know where we're gonna end up. That's gonna depend on how many trials move forward, how many bills I get, and things of that nature. So that is the primary reason for the increase there. And that is not only court-appointed attorneys, that's investigators, that's experts. So if someone's indigent and the state presents some DNA expert, well, whether it's my office or outside counsel, under our Constitution and laws, that person has the right to get their own DNA expert. And if they're indigent, guess who pays for that? The Public Defender's Office. So that can be a $10,000 or $5,000 or $15,000 expert. I have no control over that. We can never have any idea what that's going to be. Transcripts, every time, if you saw, there were 21 appeals this year. Every appeal has a transcript fee. That usually floats between $2,000 and $10,000, and that's not including paying for the appellate attorney as well. So all those things come out of that. Investigators, if our office needs an investigator, or a court-appointed counsel, they're indigent, they may need an investigator on that case. There could be, for instance, let's say the Polaris shootings. A defense attorney on that would have to send an investigator to interview all those witnesses, just like the state did, to see if they tell us a different story, to make sure so we have the right to ask the questions we want to ask, because if we just look at the police report, of course that report is going to be skewed towards things the officers are looking for. Nothing bad, that's their job, but we have a different purpose and different job and reason for interviewing witnesses. So again, that's something I can't control within that 5301. So going back here, again, my ask here is $1,125,500 thousand. I do want to highlight, there are areas where we did reduce what we were asking for. Printing and related services went from 4,000 to 1,000. I believe membership subscription dues was 2,500, and that went down to 800. And most of the other areas were flat, except for compensation, and I'll talk about that here as well. Again, maintenance contracts and agreements, another area where we reduced. Software and computer services, that went from 5 to 3, I think. So before we get to compensation, I do want to talk about other factors that affected the contracted professional services line. Increase in court-appointed attorney rate. So most of the bills from 2021 and the early part of 2022 we were paying outside counsel at $50 to $60 an hour. That increased starting the 1st of January of this year to $75 an hour flat.
Didn't start till this year? Okay.
Yeah, that started.
Time runs together after a while.
Yeah, so that's roughly a 50% increase in what the court-appointed attorneys were making. And so the front part of our budget, we were getting bills that were essentially 50% lower than they were than the bills we started seeing roll in June and July and August and May. So January, February, March, people were billing us for cases that they started in October, November, December. So when we got bills the first part of the year, they were bills we were used to. Around the time I started seeing bills that were 25 to 50% higher than they were in the past. And I'm not sure that was thought about or truly put into the budget that John Corneli had asked for. There's also a increase in complexity of cases. Melissa and I talk about this a lot. She's indicting, and she can't control it, more murders. There's more rapes. There's more cases that she is binding over from the juvenile court system. And it's just something, and I had a one-on-one with her, not to try to change her philosophies, but just say, hey, if there's a change in philosophy, I just need to know so that reflects in my budget. I respect Melissa. She has a job to do. If she wants to indict people on higher charges than she was before or not want to reduce them, she has that right, but I just would like to know so I can understand that there's a change there, which is going to cost my office more money with experts, with jury trials, with transcript fees, and things of that nature. So, again, there's been an increase of trials. For instance, in municipal court in 2021, there was 10 jury trials. In 2022 alone, through October, there were 18. So that's almost double. Jury trials, that's another thing I can't evaluate in my budget. I have if we have 10 jury trials, the difference between 10 jury trials and 18 jury trials is probably $30,000 to $40,000 in the budget. And that's just something that I'm not able to account for directly. Again, and also those jury trials leads to an increase in appeals. Common pleas court is pretty flat between 20 and 19, and even 21 and 22, and even 19. But overall, if you recall in my memo, there was a range where one year was 12. I don't think we're gonna, with the change in prosecutors and the change in philosophies, I don't think we'll see 12 again. I think it's gonna stay between 18 and 25 probably. I think this year we'll probably get to 22 because we still have 2 months left. They're averaging about 1.5 per month. So Another thing, another factor here is the amount of cases that are indicted. Felony cases in 21, there were 739. In 2022, we have 615. We were on pace for 738. I put this together prior to Melissa indicting, I think, 18 people yesterday, which was the
Oh,
biggest
really?
indictment, which is the biggest one this year. So I guess it's hard to
Plus
extrapolate.
18.
But right now, with the pace we're at now, we're probably going to be around 750 if she does another big batch like she did. And again, that's not her. Sometimes drug labs, a lot of them were F5s. They're waiting on labs from the lab results for drug testing. So it looks like she got a bunch back in one batch, and then she had to indict them all. So, that just happened. I got that late yesterday, but this was already together, but I thought I would mention that. Juvenile court is up quite a bit of cases. I think Judge Himanowski there said they were slower to start charging and having more hearings due to COVID versus the other courts. And then if you look at municipal court, between 2011 and 2020, complaints there range between 2,200 to 3,900. So there's 3,900, obviously. We have to assign out a lot more court-appointed cases, more trials, more experts, kind of the same thing here. All right, so my next increase there, major increase, was in compensation. That wasn't as big, but it went from 570 to 697. The primary reason for that is, as you know, we hired a youth attorney to do that, and I've already highlighted the money he's going to save the county and the state, and I will like to reiterate here, it's going to far exceed my conservative estimate that I put you guys out. I mean, he came in, he had experience, he came in fully go and is handling cases very quickly and efficiently and doing a good job. So we're probably gonna do very well with him in that hire. So the vast majority of the compensation was that. Obviously, with compensation going up, then PERS are gonna go up and those other things that follow. There is also an $18,000 increase there above his salary. Obviously, the 4% was calculated in there. There's additional $18,000 that we asked for. I presented that to my public defender commission, and they approved that. And I will explain to you guys as well where that came from. Jenny Downey, who is the program coordinator, we looked at her salary, her responsibilities, compared to other Ohio Public Defender offices. She was quite a bit lower than her equivalent roles in those offices. That was brought to me, that information was given to me by the Ohio Public Defender's Office when I was looking at my salaries. So we proposed a $3,000 salary adjustment for her. My public defender commission did approve that based on the data I provided them from other counties. And she's very integral to our office. Unfortunately, prior to us being there, if Jenny leaves, we wouldn't have even had an idea of how to process court-appointed bills. The prior public defender didn't get anyone else trained on that as well, so literally if she quit, we would have had no idea how to even get reimbursed. I do have her training someone else in the office, so if that happens, we at least know how to do that. But again, that's why that was there. Melanie King, she is a admin. She is training now to be that backup person. She also has 3 attorneys. So Ohio Public Defender, all their offices have
Excuse me.
2 attorneys per admin. That's pretty much the standard. Because I did want to ask for an additional admin person for one person, she agreed to also take the youth attorney. So she's kind of doing 1.5 jobs. Based on that, she said that she would be happy with that. I wouldn't have to come and ask for another admin person. So we increased her salary, $3,000. Garrett Smith is a young attorney in our office. I know Franklin County completed their wage study. He was only making $55,000, I believe. Franklin County, he has friends that work there. They have been trying to poach him for a while. And they're starting in the 60s. I couldn't get him to where they were starting. And I just felt there was too much of a jump. Unfortunately, Cornelli brought him in, again, not to throw him under the bus, a little bit lower than he probably should have. And so that creates turnover. I mean, when you have the money in your budget, you think you have a good employee. I'm not saying break the bank, but you should pay enough to where they're not looking a week, a month, 3 months later, if you can afford it. So because of that, I know he could easily go to Franklin County and make more than 55.
Oh, yeah.
We asked for 5,000 there. And then for Barshonda Robinson, just for parity there in the office, she, again, very experienced, great attorney. I know she can make more outside of the office. She's doing felonies. Again, was not me. The prior public defender brought Jeffrey Urick in at $85,000 to do misdemeanors. What she's doing, she's tried big drug cases and won them, rapes, things of that nature. And she's making less than an attorney that's going to deal with driving under suspensions and theft of a candy bar out of the grocery store. So essentially, at some point, you know, I know she's unhappy. I did know she was looking around prior to me coming. And so, you know, I think I have a great staff, and presenting that to my commission, they thought so as well and did approve that increase. The rest of the salaries are the same. I tried to argue my own case why I needed more, but as you see, they didn't give me more, so it's not here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So I think other than that, I think we have parity with other public defenders' offices based on that. I think we have some parity with the prosecutor's office as much as we can. And so I think that brings my office to where we need to be, and I think I can retain all of my staff based on those increases. So other budget considerations, am I near my time? Okay. Other budget considerations, these will go quick. OPD reimburses Delaware County 90% of the associated costs of my office. That's the good thing. You know, I'm asking for some increases. We're just responsible as Delaware County for 10% of that, and I think those are necessary. So if you look here, this is what was in my budget for 2022 that we expected the state to reimburse us. For 2023, we're expecting them to reimburse us essentially $1.9 million. I will again, thanks to Jenny, she's the person in our office that knows how to get that money back. We're training other people, but we have been really good. We're right around getting 100% of the money that we're supposed to get back. The only times we aren't getting money back is when the courts make a mistake on something and we send it to OPD and then they say, well, this wasn't, the court did the entry wrong, we can't reimburse that. But I mean, we're getting the vast majority, probably 99.5% of the money back that we're supposed to get back, so. So essentially, this is what our county would be responsible for in my 2023 proposed budget. All right, again, I won't go over more of the trial numbers. I think I kind of covered those at other places.
No, go ahead.
What'd you say? Did you say something, Bart?
No,
Okay.
go ahead. I know
Okay. Yeah.
you're being very kind with, and
Yeah.
very cognizant of time, and we have the time.
So I think that this is something that I want to think about for future budget considerations. Variability and unpredictability, they'll continue based on the factors that I mentioned before. But we do have a budget line that is a constant, and that is the compensation or 5,001 versus 5,301. If there are 20 or 25 more jury trials in a year, when we're using court-appointed counsel, that's going to up the budget. If they're in my office or one of my employees or myself, the budget doesn't change. They can indict 15, 20, 25, 30 more cases. Our number stays the same. Doesn't go up because we're salary. So if I try 10 more cases, obviously, that doesn't change. But that could result in between $15,000 and $50,000 in change in fees for outside counsel. So I say that to say I think the county, we should probably continue to move toward the original goal of the office of continuing to grow it to where the public defender's office is handling the majority of the cases. When that money gets moved to that budget line, we know what the budget is, we're done. I should never have to come, me or whoever comes after me, shouldn't really have to come to you guys for money. Because again, what I'm asking for, it could hold, it may not. If 2 people get murdered, that's gonna throw a whole dent into the budget I presented to you. Something else to consider, this is a new change to the Ohio Administrative Code. Essentially, they will reimburse, right now it's 90-10, 90%, they will reimburse the county back 90% of the cost to remodel, renovate any office space that's used by a public defender's office, as long as it's solely used for public defenders. So we can't stick, EMS, a couple EMS people in
Is
there
that a
with
new
us.
law?
Yeah, yep, that became effective, if you see there, I didn't put it, October 17th. So that is
Wow.
very,
2017?
no, October 17th of this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's too bad that wasn't in place when we created the public defender
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
because theoretically, we could have,
yeah.
I presume would have
I
qualified.
assume it's not retroactive.
No, it's not.
I didn't
But,
think it would be, but
that would have been
nice.
great, because it was 100% then. I mean, 90% is great, but, how I put it to one of my people, a person I met at the conference, is someone came to me right now and said, hey, you can remodel your bathroom, we'll cover 100%. It may not need me remodeling, but if I can make it better, then I probably would. So I think that would have been a great deal, but it's still a good deal. So as we look forward to increasing the office space, again, I'm not advocating for that now, but I think that needs to be the long-term goal. As we look forward to that, I think we need to keep this in consideration, because the county would get 90%. And twofold, it gives us more space, and it also increases the value of county property without the county footing the majority of the bill.
Do you have room to add another attorney in the space you currently have?
No,
I
I
assume-
remember we talked about that. I mean, like, I was talking to Carlos about that the other day, and because it would make so much sense, we would actually be saving money if he could do more with our attorneys.
Yeah, we don't have the space, and I don't think there's even space to remodel.
When we have lunch, maybe we can take a little walk. I kind of
Oh,
see what the possibilities are over there. 'Cause I haven't seen the remodel.
Okay.
yes, both Commissioner Merrill and then should see the remodel, because you're gonna be very interested in one particular
Well,
office.
I heard about that.
And,
I can't remember who told me that, it wasn't you.
It was me, yeah, and what's on the wall.
Apparently a very intelligent attorney.
On your Oklahoma
Oh,
picture?
it is like all over. This one, I can just see this man getting the big raise. No, that's not up to you, though.
I have a couple of questions, may I?
Oh, yeah, just one other thing. With the remodel, though, we will be remodeling the Carnegie Building where you are, and so that's something we'll have to make sure that.
It is a part of the space study. The public defender space will be part of this.
Oh, that's
Study.
great.
And
Good.
I don't want to be
Good.
presumptuous, but that conference room on the north there theoretically might be able to be transitioned into extra space, but that might create a debate somewhere else, but,
That's why we're doing a space study.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I have a couple of questions.
sure.
First of all, I just want to say I have the highest confidence in what you're doing, and your presentation just reinforces my belief and trust in you and the job you're doing. So I wanted to say that, first of all. I have a question just about the numbers. You talked about, back in the early stages, you talked about the additional public defender cases that you're taking on.
Yes.
And then the next page, you talk about the cases you assign out. If you look at the ones you assign out, in 2021, it was 580, and in 2022, it was 358. So that was a difference of 222.
Right. Yep.
If you turn back and look at the public defender cases in 2021, it was 266, and you assumed additional 346. That's roughly 80 cases. Were there less felony cases, or am I misinterpreting the numbers?
Well, the public defender cases for 2021, there was 266 that we took, and so there were 580 that we assigned out, so I guess the total was 846?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah.
That's what yeah. I had written that down.
But my point was, if you add the felonies in 2021 for both years, it comes to 846, I believe.
Right, right.
And in 2022, if you add them together, it only comes to 704. So did you have 150 less felony cases?
Oh, no, the year's still going.
Yeah,
Remember, that's through
Not a full year.
That's not
October
typical.
2, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't look right, but you just answered the question. I appreciate
Nope,
that.
like I said, we got 18 new ones yesterday, and
Sure.
the week before that's not in here. So, like I said, it's probably gonna be pretty close.
That answers my question.
And some of those
I was
include-
confused, the numbers didn't.
And some of those include probation violations and things like that as well, so.
Very good.
yeah.
This is more a question for Karen. I'm assuming, I think I know the answer. We can't charge the state for space, just for a direct cost?
Well,
Do you know the
guys
answer?
More about the billing than I do on them, so I think
Do
they
you-
do charge for something.
For the space that you occupy, does the state reimburse for space or just direct cost?
I think they will reimburse for space if it's out. They won't reimburse the county, but there are some public defender's offices who rent from private owners,
Okay.
and they will reimburse that lease.
I just want to make sure that we're getting full benefit, so,
Yeah.
okay. Your idea of doing more in-house, I fully support that. I think when we went into this 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it's been now, the goal was we thought we could be more efficient in-house. We felt they could handle more cases, and I use the term farming it out. And if you could handle more cases, then theoretically, we could become more efficient and roughly probably spend the same number of dollars we were spending when we were farming it out. So to the degree that we're able to make that work for you and make you more efficient, I fully support it. And you have my full confidence based on the way you present yourself. That's really all I have to add. You mentioned 90%. I already knew it was 90 because Karen and I, she shared that number with me a couple of months ago. Theoretically, we'd get 100%. The problem is the state sets a dollar figure budget, And with the 88 counties, and the increase in out-of-pocket for court-appointed, there's no way that that could ever work. They've
Yeah.
got to find a new way of doing it. You got to assign a number that you know is going to be 10% over,
Like
or somehow do,
110%.
but,
Yeah,
and the goal's not,
Yeah.
you go back 4 years ago, it was 45%.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the County Commission Association worked diligently to get it to a theoretical 100%. And every year will vary based on the number of claims throughout the state, and that's how we arrive at, in this case, 90% this year. So, well done.
Thank you.
Our Justice and Public Safety Committee is working on that still to actually get it at 100%. Yeah, I think we'd probably have to go to 110.
As long as they set a fixed budget number,
Yeah, then, yeah.
based on where they
Yeah.
think it's going to be, that's never
Yeah,
going to happen.
You're right, yeah, yeah. Commissioner Benton?
Yeah, again, very, very good grasp of the numbers. That's really appreciated, and providing background data, again, very, very helpful to understanding the budget. Thank you for your leadership. Again, I think we've got the right guy,
Thank you.
in that place at this point. And just kind of an observation, kind of to Commissioner Merrill's point. If I'm interpreting the numbers correctly, the 23 proposed expenses are 2.237, and 23 proposed revenue is 2.111. So we've got a funding deficit of 125,000, which is about 6%. So that means, if I'm reading the numbers correctly, we're getting about 94% of the expenses.
Well, based on the numbers through the year, it was right at 90, wasn't it?
Yeah,
So-
well, that's what they're reimbursing us
Yeah.
based on an estimate, but the actual is coming in at 94%.
Yeah, that's a
So
good
we're
point.
getting, we're not at 100 where we should be, but we're a little better than 90.
And that's a conversation that continues through your
Oh, yeah,
committee and.
yeah.
Yes,
A lot
Yes.
of people are aware of that and pushing for it, so.
yeah.
But again, thank you, Carlos. Good
Thank you.
presentation.
And
Thank
I want to thank you guys for even putting the Public Defender's Office in. I just think it's a good benefit to the county, but more importantly, the people who benefit from it. Everyone that gets locked up isn't a bad person, and people make mistakes, and I think having our office there to quickly get people out of jail and get back to their families or get back to work is important to me. And that's why I think, I see a lot of the private attorneys not go to the jail as much as they need to, and sometimes people are ready to plead because they are guilty, but they're sitting in jail waiting to their next court date because their private attorney is not coming to see them. And that's money in the jail that we're paying for. It's keeping things on the court docket, things of that nature. So Melissa and I have been working together to try to fix some of those things as well. Things like pre-indictment diversion, which will stop it from even getting formalized in the courts, and even talk about bringing social workers in and things of that nature to kind of help get those cases resolved before they even get to the court and cost the county money for grand juries and things of that nature. So it's a lot of work yet to be done, but I do want to continue to figure out ways to be more efficient while helping the citizens and save the county money as well.
Carlos, to your point, not only handling more cases makes us more efficient, but based on the work session we have with the judges and the conversations, the investigation we did afterwards, we felt that the cases, or each individual case, could be handled more quickly.
Correct.
And I think that's probably proven to be the
Yeah,
case.
absolutely.
And you gave us credit, and I fully appreciate that as my fellow commissioners, but the judges in this county and our prosecutor, when we had that work session, I'm gonna say, it was in August, 4 years ago probably, they felt compelled that they want to make sure that indigents were get good defense, so they deserve
Right.
credit as well.
That's right. Boy, I strongly support too, being able to have your office, Carlos, handle more of the cases, because the quality of representation is excellent, and it actually is saving us money when we're able to incorporate that within your office versus having the outside counsel. So, I mean, it's really a win-win, and under your excellent leadership, and Can't thank you enough for all you do.
Thank you, I think I went over, I apologize.
And your compensation
No.
increases they all seem very reasonable to me.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
Same here.
Did you want a
Thank
copy
you.
saved on this? I thought.
We're
you know,
fine.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Carlos. And any other questions, comments? Then,
We are in recess until Wednesday, November 30th at 9 a.m.